Hello and welcome to the Real Estate Regroup Show. I am your host, LJ Walker, a real estate investor helping you realize your dreams of owning a home or investing in one. Well, it's with great sadness that I report the passing of Harry Belafonte. As many of you know, he was a singer that introduced calypso to the United States and the rest of the world. Okay, that music originally came from Jamaica, which is where his parents was from. He was born in Harlem on 114th Street. Okay, his music actually, he was the first musician, I believe he was either the first musician overall or the first African American musician that made that $1 million sale mark. So that's very important to note. Through his singing capabilities and also because of his looks, he was able to move into acting actually seamlessly. He was asked to be an actor, right? So he appeared in many different movies, and the last one was The Black Klansman. He was, by the way, also the first African American to get an Emmy Award for a TV show that he did. Another very important accomplishment. Now, what many other people may know him as is also as a civil rights activist. He marched with Martin Luther King. He was really more with civil rights, but I have seen in the past where he has spoken to others, such as Malcolm X, who was during that era, but was in a separate movement, if you will. And I know that he probably also interacted with several other groups during that particular time that were dealing with freeing African Americans from oppression. Okay. But here's something that many people don't know that I'd like to share with you. And that is his real estate investments. Okay. Yes, through his later life, he did have a farm called Deo in Chatham, New York. But what many people don't know is that he owned many different properties right here in New York City. And I'm going to share the story with you because everybody wants to know what the blueprint is. Okay, so I'm going to tell you what happened with him. So during the 1950s, he got married, he had a kid, so he needed to find extra room for them because apparently where he lived, there wasn't enough. Well, at that time, he was at the height of his career. So he had money, okay? He had fame. He had everything. And yet, because he was Black, they would not rent to him. He said the only places that he could get was in a community that was somewhat marginalized, meaning there was crime, or in a hotel. But in a neighborhood that would be more safer to raise his family, they denied him. So guess what he did? He at first, from some of the readings that I saw, he had someone else apply for the apartment who was of a different skin tone, and they let him sublet the apartment. Well, the landlord of that building, who surprisingly would not have been considered white, was upset and basically told him he had to leave. So here's what Harry Belafonte did. He channeled his anger, pooled his resources, his money, and money of other people that he knew, and they bought the building. That was the first move. The second move was he converted the apartments into co-ops. Okay, listen, he at that time, he was an actor, he was an activist, he was a singer. He didn't have time to be a landlord, right? So in a way, turning those apartments into co-ops so that the people who were quote unquote tenants now become owners of those apartments, they would be the ones responsible for taking care of it. And they would contribute in paying for, let's say, the doorman, and also like the repair of the elevator and what have you. Okay. The other thing that he did was he took the entire 15th floor of that building. Yes, the building has more than that. And he made that whole floor one apartment. But we don't stop right there. No, we don't. Because Mr. Belafonte went ahead and bought the building next door. Okay? We don't stop there. No. Mr. Belafonte bought several, I believe it's, I don't remember if it's co-ops or condos, but they're on 73rd Street and Broadway, near where, for those of you who are in New York, where the 72nd Street #1 train station is. That actually, it was an Apple Bank, but that was actually turned into a, residential property. So, yes, Mr. Belafonte owned many properties. Now, he did eventually sell the 2 apartment buildings, and he did eventually sell the farm as well. So basically at the end, where he actually died of heart failure was was in the building around 72nd Street. I think it's really more 73rd and Broadway. If I'm not mistaken, that's where that bank building or former bank building is. So I bring this to you not just to honor him for the man that he was, but I bring this to you to say, you know what, when someone passes, when someone leaves, let's really look at their life. Let's evaluate it. Because see, a lot of people are looking for the blueprint. Younger people, they're upset with those of us who are older. Now, I'm not necessarily Mr. Belafonte's age, okay, but one thing is this: there weren't really that many Black people that were as accomplished as Harry Belafonte, okay? And before I move on, I just want to also add that with his talents as in his career, as well as his real estate holdings, he was actually able to use that money to fund a lot of the marches that he was in. And it wasn't just the civil rights too. Let's also not forget, he was also an anti-apartheid activist in South Africa as well. And I'm almost certain that that money was used there. And I also noticed that if you look at like the time in which he bought the real estate, yes, he still made appearances as a celebrity, but not as often. And I don't think it was because the real estate was making him busy. I think it was because he realized he didn't have to because of all the money that he was making. Honestly. But I segue and I go back to where I had left off from before. Yeah, so I wanted to say to many of you who are younger who say, why didn't anybody leave a blueprint? Here's the thing. Again, not everyone who is Harry Belafonte's age or who is my age have made it that far as financially is concerned. So we can't leave you a blueprint on how to be so rich if we're not that rich. Okay. Then, being that he was rich, I just want you guys to know that the blueprint is not always going to be written down in a book. And some of you don't read anyway. I mean, let's be honest. Let's tell the truth. I look at my book sales and I can see, okay, I can see how much money I make off of my book, The Perils of Real Estate Scam Alert, which is on Amazon and it has been for a number of years. The thing is that people are not going to just walk up and tell you. That's not how it goes. What you need to do is you need to look at the person's life. Honor the person, even if they did things that you don't agree with, because there were certain things that Mr. Belafonte did that I didn't necessarily agree with, okay? But look at what he did, and what you do like, copy it. You know, he could have easily, I mean, I'm pretty sure with that anger that he had, he could have chosen to physically hurt that landlord, which would have gotten him in jail, right? But instead of doing that, he channeled his anger in a more positive way, in a legal way, in an economically positive way, bought 2 buildings. And look at how he bought the 2 buildings and look at what he did with those 2 buildings, as well as the farm and everything else that he had. Look at what he did and copy it. If you say to yourself, you know what, I don't think I have friends or family that would help me financially, you know, individually, we may not be able to accomplish what we need, but together as a group, we can. But if you know that your group is not going to help you, first of all, I like to say, did you even ask your group? Because sometimes we make assumptions that they won't and they will. So number one, ask the people around you. And if you can't find anybody around you the same way that Harry Belafonte was able to find people, then you know what? I'm not saying leave the people that you are behind or forget about them or ditch them. I'm saying you're going to need to find new people. You're going to need to network your way while you're saving your money and find people who also want to buy property. Pull your money and your resources together and get what it is that you need. We have private money lenders out here, very easy to Google them. We have hard money lenders out here, very easy to Google them. You can go to many different, there are self-directed IRAs and solo IRAs and all different companies that have these retirement accounts where there are people who have money just sitting in the account who are looking to invest and have nobody to invest with. They're just waiting for a good deal. They have seminars every month You can attend those seminars, and at those seminars, they have a networking breakout room. You can network. Attend those seminars, those monthly seminars. Get to meet people. Get to know people. Go to, if there's a physical conference, go to those physical conferences. Meet those private lenders. It says Private Lender Expo for a reason. Okay. Go to many real estate expos will have both private money lenders and hard money lenders that are there in attendance, and sometimes they even set up a booth with a table. They are looking for deals, letting you know. So if your family and your friends don't support you, you can't use that as an excuse. Your family and friends are not the world. There's over 1 billion people in the world. Reach out. In today's world, it's so much easier to reach out than before. So get out there, network, so that when the time comes, and don't wait until you need people, or don't say, well, I don't want that right now. You never know what you want what's going to happen to you in the future. Okay. So get out there, network, know the right people. And so that this way, if anything happens, you can make whatever necessary moves you need to make. The blueprint is not always going to be in a book. Again, the blueprint is not always going to be somebody coming up to you, talking to you, and telling you, this is the blueprint. The blueprint is for you sometimes to be quiet, be silent, listen, look, see what you like, and follow into the footsteps or do what it is that they did. You might even have to ask them, how did you do that? And then create your plan and execute. That's the blueprint. And thank you, Harry Belafonte, for your blueprint. And soon, I hope to follow into your footsteps. Well, I am LJ Walker. Hopefully, the information that I've shared with you will help you make smart financial real estate moves. Feel free to pass this amongst your friends. Remember, each one teach one. Bye for now. Until next time, have a good night.